Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Big League Breakdowns. This is episode 26 as we talk about the awards that are finally here for our MLB season. It is the boys here. Why are you laughing, John? I
Because
already
of
can
the way
see.
you said, here we go.
Here we go. Myself, Tyler, Will over there, and his Phillies get up once again. John and his Orioles get up once again. Do you guys even change clothes? And behind the keys once again is Mr. Robert Morrison III. And we're here to talk about some awards as we are just days away. Actually, when you see this, it'll probably be the day of the first award going live. And a lot of races, have kind of been chalked
A
up
lot
for a
of what?
while. A lot of races have been chalked up for a while, a lot of award races. But Will's already lost it. But we're gonna get into some conversation and see what we can come up with here, and if we think anything's gonna go crazy off the rails, who wins what. And yeah, with that, let's get right into it. Starting with the NL Rookie of the Year award.
Hurt.
NL
Off
Rookie
to
of
a
the
great
Year award.
start.
I know. NL Rookie of the Year award between Jackson Churio, Jackson Merrill, and Paul Skeens, the man, the myth, the legend. Well, I feel like this award has kind of been given to Paul Skeens already based on the Cy Young. Um,
I'm trying to think, how can we piss off Padres fans? Because this
yeah.
is going to happen.
Well,
How
Well,
can we
okay.
how can we tell him it's
Um,
over before it was even announced?
but I don't know
and
anymore. I really don't. And I don't know.
I think this
Um,
race was over before Skeens made his debut. I gotta be honest.
I
I
think
mean, so this I would have agreed, but the fact that both Jackson Merrill finished as a Silver Slugger and he finished, was it second at least with the All MLB team, and in general, the voting tends to favor position players over pitchers. I am not as positive anymore.
yeah, I mean here's the thing. Kind of talked about this before, right? Paul Skeens, like a lot of what was against him was, oh, he only pitched whatever innings, like he didn't come up right away. Dude, he did like everything he could have possibly done to win this award. There's nothing more he could have done.
I gotta be
Um,
honest with you. I don't think that this is an award that is necessarily going and factored into like where stats are necessarily fully factored into this. I think little bit of popularity in the fact that he's dating Livy Dunn, the fact that he is basically a bit of a social media darling because of that. I
Oh,
think that
Popper.
that could influence voters as well.
I
Uh,
agree. I agree with you in the sense that sometimes I don't think it's always about stats. I don't agree about, he dates Livy Dunn, blah, blah. Because I mean, a lot of the conversation with Jackson Merrill was he really carried the Padres in the second, half of the season. Was arguably their best player, one of definitely their most clutch player, and that was kind of why he got back into the conversation. But
Hold
again,
on, hold on.
Scenes
You're
was so
telling
good.
me the fact that you see this guy in the mainstream all the time, let alone solely because of who he's dating,
It's
isn't
not.
going to be a factor
It's
into the relevance here?
hit.
Baseball wants a Taylor Swift.
It
I
has nothing to do with who he's dating. No, let me say this. Livy Dunn is popular enough where there is some pull there, but it's not like he's dating Taylor Swift. What is makes him so popular is that he's 20 years old, 21, I forget, whatever years old. He throws 103 miles per hour, and he was the first draft pick and just came up and started playing. And yes, Livy Dunn does want a Pirates fan to sit with her for this this raffle or whatever they're doing, or the
This is
sweepstakes they're
funny.
doing.
It is basically the Willy Wonka golden ticket
Yes.
search to find this card.
Yes.
So, for all your listeners, basically, if you pull this like one of one rookie debut patch autograph card from Topps, this is apparently what the Pirates will give you. Livy Dunn did respond to this by saying, "If you find the card, you could sit next to me in my suite at a game." So
a
that is the
a
offer
game.
on the
Yes.
table.
And
Tyler,
then
how many packs have you bought?
Didn't
So
the
it's
Pirates? Didn't the
Tyler, are
Pirates
you
say?
solely keeping Tops in business right now?
No, I actually am not. You know what? I haven't opened a pack of baseball cards in a long time, and it kind of makes me sad.
Oh,
Um,
that's a great
it
feeling,
is
though.
2 Pirates season
yes,
tickets behind home plate for the next
yeah,
30
yeah,
years.
that's what it was. I was gonna say like that
Let's be
offer.
real here. That's not a very enticing offer
Wow,
there.
that's crazy. That is
By the
Start
absolutely
the
way,
last
crazy.
this
3
also
before the
assumes that Paul
contract ends.
Skeens is staying that whole time.
Okay,
He ain't staying.
easy,
He
Chief.
ain't staying.
This
They
is
ain't
what
signing
this
him.
is what I get into. Going back to the conversation though, uh, I mean, look, Paul Skeens is popular because I think his name value is more than like just Livy Dunn. Like I don't buy that. But regardless, the
I
guy's a
think it
menace.
adds that extra push, is what I'm saying.
I mean, maybe, but like I don't think it's like exaggerated. Like again, if he was dating Taylor Swift, something a
She's
little
not Taylor
different.
Swift. Yeah,
She's not
she's
Taylor
not
I
Swift.
Taylor Swift.
understand
She
she's
is
not Taylor Swift, but
She's a
there's still
TikTok.
that popularity factor,
Yeah.
no,
and that's
yeah, but
what
it's
this.
nowhere.
That's what all
It's
these
nowhere
are.
close.
And
It's
also
nowhere close. It's
also not
nowhere
to
close.
mention we're talking about baseball where the average fan is like 55 years old. They don't know who Livy Dunn is.
But the average fan doesn't. Oh, are you kidding me? The average fan doesn't know who Livy Dunn is.
Oh,
Yes,
I
that
didn't
is
know.
absolutely true. That
Oh
is
my
absolutely
gosh!
We
true.
Come
are
That is
on!
so
absolutely true.
Come
no.
on!
Regardless of all that, Will, how do you see this going? I mean, Merrill
He
Merrill
just
gives a
sat
good
here so
case
quietly.
because he's over it already. He can't deal with it. What's your take on this?
Paul Skeens to me still has had an incredible year that in many ways feels practically record breaking or close to it for a rookie pitcher. With all that being said, I'd pick him. I still think in the end the writers will go with Jackson Merrill. You know,
Uh, why? Why do you feel that?
because I mean, I do think that in the end, as I said earlier, position players are favored a lot more because they play every day. So it's a matter of defense, offense. In this case, you have the Padres, where, as you said, he was pretty much the MVP of the second half for them, especially when Tatis went down. He put up incredible numbers where if he was in the American League, he'd be a shoo-in. So I think this is a situation of you have a guy playing every day for the Padres, and they were a team that surprised a lot with how close they made it at times, especially late in the season, to the Dodgers and winning the division. He's a big reason why they thought a lot of people thought the Padres could make a push in the playoffs. And the fact that Paul Skeens did miss a little over a month at the beginning of the season, I think it'll be like whoever wins in the end, but I'm going to say Jackson Merrill does win it, even though it's not my pick, by less than 30 points.
What about you, John? How do you feel about how this shakes out?
I'm gonna go with it's gonna come down to the popularity pick, and that is clearly Paul Skeens. Honestly, I do have a question for
I
you
hope all
guys.
Padres fans hear this and then explain what popularity means to John in the comments below.
Okay. Anyway, I do have a question. Um, does Jackson Churio does he have a chance?
No,
No.
but I will say, I mean, he should be. I'm glad he's on the
The ballot.
podium. Yeah,
You're glad he's
because
on the ballot.
he definitely deserves it. Like he had a really good year. And he should be recognized, especially again on that Brewers team, which,
Mhm.
obviously went out in the playoffs, but they had a great season and should be recognized for it. As for me, I think Paul Skeens will win this. I'm obviously hoping for it. It'd be great as a Pirates fan. But it is hard in some ways to go against Jackson Merrill. This has been like I think this has been the best. This would be like the best race, I guess, for these awards because everything else is kind of locked up. But this has kind of been back and forth, but about what people think. But for me, I'm hoping again it's Paul Skeens, and we'll see. It will be announced on Monday, so it'll be fun to look at that. Let's now go to the AL side of things, and for this exercise, I'm gonna make it an exercise. I
I don't
think
like to exercise.
I I think I
Pumping
know.
iron, baby.
Our comment section thinks the same thing. I think
Yeah.
I think I know where Will sits on this, and I know where John sits on this. So I want you to advocate for Luis Heel, and I want John to advocate for Cowser. John, you can go first.
Oh wow, I gotta go for. All right, fine. Colton Cowser, 303 batting average, 372 on base percentage, 632 slugging percentage, 24 home runs, and led the AL rookies with in OPS plus. This guy played in Baltimore the entire season. Played could have been Gold Glove caliber left field for the Orioles. And honestly, when you look at Luis Gil, you get nothing but inconsistency. He had a very mid season for as much as he really got as far as the praise. And frankly, it's to me, it's a one. It's obvious that it goes to Colton Cowser. The milkman is going to should deliver with this one.
All right, well, tell me about Luis Heel and why he should be winning it. And am I right in my
He's on the
assumption?
Yankees.
Okay.
No,
No, that's it. That's it. That's all the writers
That's
are gonna
it.
go off of. That's it.
I mean,
You're right.
there's some arguments that can have all this evidence behind them, and then it's like big organization. Who are you gonna pick?
Yeah, you're
No,
right. That is what the writers will base it off of. That's why they have what, 4 nominees, 2 in this category alone.
I mean, I know I'm in favor of Heel, but to just start it off with our favorite stat, they had the same WAR. The two of them, 3.1. So, in that sense, they were very even in how they contributed to their teams. And in many ways, Heel was arguably the best pitcher for your AL champion Yankees.
Oh, wow.
So you have to keep that in mind, even though I know this doesn't matter, but they also helped win the division, which is a tight race for a lot of the season. So Heel had a 3.5 ERA, 15 wins, which nowadays 15 wins almost feels like you're saying 20, given the way wins have just completely declined in baseball. He had some of the best months that you could see pitching wise, especially in May, 6-0, 0.7. The only real caveat for Heel was that he would walk some guys. But nowadays in baseball, that is such a stat that feels like it's pushed aside as long as you're effective, because he still had a whip of 1.19, even though he led the American League in 77 walks. I feel like Cowser, the same issues that John had with Heel, Cowser was also inconsistent at times where he'd have great months, then he'd slip off immensely. And so I feel like it really comes down to, in the end, is it's almost in this situation a little more towards a who's more valuable to the team. And I think Heel, especially given the injuries that the Yankees pitching had at times, could be seen as.
How about the injuries that the Orioles had the whole season? You kidding me?
Cowser, helped pick up that absolutely horrendous Orioles team of the second half that basically quit.
Yeah,
he did his job.
And Heel didn't do his. That's why
he let him help lead them to a World Series. You're right. He didn't do his job. But that
did not lead them. He did not lead them. Let's rephrase that, okay?
He helped lead them to the playoffs, which set them up for the postseason.
No. A team that has Aaron Judge and Wanso, Luis Gil, he led them. That's right.
He helped lead the pitching staff while they were banged up throughout the season, and when you get to the postseason, the guys that they needed to rely on stepped up. So he helped lead them to the playoffs, and then the veterans did their part.
It's funny, and I actually really don't think it's just the Pirates bias here, but this race is like, in terms of the closeness of it, is probably as close as Paul Skeens and Merrill, and I don't give a shit about the AL Rookie of the Year. It gets so boring compared to the NL. This is so boring.
You're right. It's 2 Yankees.
It's you're kind of splitting hairs here. I do side with Will on this with Heel. but I don't know. It doesn't seem it doesn't have the drama as the NL does.
But I don't get to say who my pick is now. Mason
Well,
Miller. Uh,
oh right, yes. I forgot you.
no,
I forgot yours
no.
wasn't on the ballot.
That guy was ridiculous this year, and I swear he only didn't get a nomination because he's a relief pitcher.
And he plays for the A's.
Well, there's that, but
Yeah,
I think the
but
relief pitcher part is the bigger
yeah,
factor.
I mean probably, but yeah, I think you're kind of splitting hairs here.
And to be fair, as a closer for the A's, he didn't pitch that often, to be honest.
Oh God, you got me started already. Let's move over to
I'm not done yet.
Oh, you're
What
not
are you
done yet?
doing?
Oh, he's not done.
What?
He's
Are you
not
really
done.
You
Are you
haven't
really-
even asked the final question of who we think is going to win.
Well, I thought that's what you said. I thought you were
You told me to defend heel. You didn't actually ask who
right.
I wanted.
Then who do you
To be
want?
Or
fair,
who I
you didn't
thought I
ask
should
who-
say.
You didn't
do you-
ask who I thought either.
I know who you think, so I don't need to ask.
Okay, well,
What
you could still ask. It'd be nice.
Who do you think is gonna win, Will?
I do think Kaiser is going
Oh
to
my
win.
God! This whole time.
Heel is the guy that I would
Moo.
pick slightly, but for the same argument, I chose Merrill. I'm going to use the same argument for Kaiser, and that's really it. I think that they're going to go position players, and I feel like they need an Oriole to win it after Holiday screwed up.
Well, and the fact that Kaiser deserves it, but whatever.
John, for the second time, why do you want Kaiser to win the award?
Because he's the milkman and he
Okay.
delivers.
So I'm
Moving
so
on.
I can't believe. I mean, hey, you know what, Will? I'll give you props because he's defending heel well. But I'm still going with Luis Heel.
Like I said,
go Yankees.
Heel is my pick, but I think the writers are going to go with Kaiser.
Okay, I mean, fair enough.
To be fair, with this one, he yeah. I mean, Kaiser really did lock up that outfield on the left side. Let's be honest.
Okay.
In that horrendous left field with as a piece cut out like a cake.
Well, that's
They're moving it in.
yeah. I was gonna say that. Let's not get into that conversation because Jesus Christ. All right. NL Manager of the Year award. Got some fine candidates here. Carlos Mendoza from the Mets, Pat Murphy from the Brewers, and Mike Schilt. Sorry. I know. I said it and I knew immediately it was wrong. Mike Schilt from the Padres.
God, the Padres fans love you, don't they?
But the thing is, I know his name. I'm reading it though, and I read it wrong. Like,
You
but I know his
read it
name is
wrong?
Schilt. I can't read.
Ty, you take away one letter, and this is no longer a PG-13 show.
Well, it never was. Some of the outrageous things that are said on here, and I'm not even talking about the cursing. I'm talking about the terrible content. All right, so you got some candidates here that you got. I think all these teams.
Now here's
You got me messed up again. They're all managers on teams that overperforms, and I know that's usually the award for a lot of sports, not just baseball.
I mean,
Pat Murphy takes a team that we personally thought was going to suck this year, to the second most wins in the NL. You have Carlos Mendoza, who
You want to rethink that statement, bud?
third. No, that wasn't second most. What am I talking about? Third most?
Yeah, Phillies were you jackass.
Yeah, I forgot about them. They're so irrelevant. After losing to the Mets and Carlos Mendoza, I forgot about them. And then Schilt with the Padres. I mean, they had a great season too. I think I was a little bit higher on them, or I think a couple of us were than maybe the media. But, Will, who do you have for this award? I think all three candidates are deserving.
If the playoffs factored in, Mendoza would win it in a landslide.
well, that was going to be
But they
my
don't.
question, actually.
They do not.
Yeah, are they being factored in? Because to be fair,
No.
this is you can't tell me that a voter isn't.
The votes are put in
secretly-
before the playoffs start.
Oh, okay.
Which
Okay.
They voted before the playoffs started.
Which, how
It's-
do you
Then
feel
why
about?
does this not get released earlier? This is stupid.
It's a secret. No, I mean, how do you feel about that though? Because and I think that all sports really do this too. Because I'm pretty sure hockey does as well. Like it's a regular season award. I mean, all these are. Like, how do you feel about that?
mean,
Because
I'm fine with it, but
Yeah,
if
I mean
I
that's
can
what it should
understand if
be
you
because
want
you
to, I
can.
can understand if you want to add maybe like a manager pick at the end of the postseason, but I feel like most of the time that would probably end up as the World Series winner, so it's kind of pointless.
I mean,
Yeah.
because I like Pat Murphy, right? Like I think he obviously would have a really good shot, or he does have a really good shot because it's regular season. But with the exit, and as you said, Mendoza would easily win it with the Mets. But it's just like a weird thing. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Anyway,
Can
if
I
the
comment on the whole postseason versus regular season thing
Sure.
before?
you have 10 seconds on the clock.
I just want to say, like, if we did do that and postseason was factored in, you, sometimes you really can't because sometimes a team will just get hot, honestly, without any rhyme or reason. For example, like the Yankees this year got really hot in the postseason. The Mets this year got hot in the postseason, but during the regular season, I mean, it's completely different. So it's almost as if the race is different once you get into the tournament.
I mean, it's a sprint versus a marathon.
Yeah. All right. Well, sorry. Continue.
So, since the postseason does not factor in at all, I would give it to Pat Murphy, and I think he'll win mainly because I know we were probably the few people that were as down on the Brewers as we were, but I know we weren't the only one that were really down on them. So I think the fact that the Padres were still liked by a lot of people will not necessarily work against Schilt, but it doesn't make him stand out compared to Mendoza, who led the Mets to being the best team in the National League for at least 2/3 of the season, and then Murphy leading that horrendous Central. But it's going to be close between Mendoza and Murphy because the Mets were indeed the best team in baseball, or at least the National League, for a good chunk of this season. And Murphy won the division in the worst division in baseball.
Hey, that's not nice. Uh,
Mm.
I mean, it's true, but it's not
Bottom
nice.
feeder.
All right, John, how do you feel about this race?
I agree with the whole Pat Murphy sense. I mean, let's be honest here. That we all thought going into this, as well as everybody else thought that the Brewers are clearly selling, having a fire sale. Everyone's on sale. It's 50% off. Come and get your players as you need them. And he took them to the third best record in the National League, granted in a weak division, but that still doesn't. It's not like it was an 85 win team. This was, clearly a playoff team. So yeah, I gotta go. Murphy's Law here.
And I think, as Will kind of said, I think Schilt doesn't stand out as much as the other guys. I mean, the Padres did have a great season, but I think the other two kind of stand out a little bit more just because of the expectations for both teams coming into the season. Also, Mendoza and Murphy both first time managers with these teams, so I don't know if that really plays a role. But for me, I also believe it is Pat Murphy, just based on kind of what we said already. They sell Burns to start they trade Burns, not sell him to start the year. And a lot of people kind of were down on them and didn't think, finally thought their reign in the NL Central was going to come to an end. And, they took a bunch of guys, that, some of them haven't proven anything and came in and played a fantastic season. So, for me, definitely going to be Pat Murphy on this one. Which leads us over to the AL Manager of the Year award, which, man, this is funny that it's three AL Central managers. Everybody thought this was going to be the case for this award.
I mean,
Uh,
to be fair, worst division. What we thought would be the worst division in baseball. I mean,
ended
had
up,
three teams that turned it around.
yeah, I mean, just I mean, a crazy division, right? Like, I really still believe that was the most entertaining division in baseball all year, and I will continue to just ride the bandwagon of the gritty tigers because of this. But it really was fun.
Are
I
you getting
think
your Javi Baez jersey?
my Javi Baez jersey, probably not. I would pick somebody else over him. Um, but yeah, I mean, again, managers from these three teams. Will, I'll go to you first again. Who do you have winning for this award?
This one really is a coin toss, I feel like, for a lot of reasons. I feel like Hinch is going to get some pushback because he was the Astros manager on the cheating team, as much as everyone screams at us to shut up about it and move on. That's when it comes to neck and neck things like this, I feel like even with the Tigers' amazing push they had, it could potentially hurt him. I'm gonna go with, and I'm gonna screw up his name, Matt Quatraro for the
Cotrero.
Royal.
Yep.
You did a good job, even though you mumbled that.
Yeah, Mac
Matt,
Matt.
Mac Cotrero. Yeah, I mean,
Mr. Q, because of
There we
not
go.
only the fact that the Royals turned around a really bad losing record last year to a winning record, they made the postseason, and I feel like that's just something that cannot be stressed enough of how tough it is to do that. It helps when the Twins suck, but you know.
yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. Cotrero, I mean, yeah, he's got definitely the record here again with what he did with this team to turn them around to win it. To be honest, dude, I really don't think you can go wrong with any of these three candidates. But John, what are your thoughts on this award?
I am going with AJ Hinch. Honestly, I think that the Astros cheating scandal in the media has kind of like gone by the wayside a little bit. It's been, what, 5 years after the fact that it came out. So there is that factor that I don't think will be taken into account. Also, the run that the Tigers went on, I mean, that has to be something. Something has
The
to be said
one
about that.
thing that will heavily help Hinch is that, well, and this is also something that'll probably help vote too, but more so, I think, Hinch, is the fact that the way the Tigers won was how they would you manage bullpen game after bullpen game after bullpen game. And that really is a manager's job because he has
Yeah,
to pull the right strings. He's calling the right guys. And if they, and it's bullpen games are a situation where if it works out, the manager can sometimes look like a genius. And if they fail, he looks like an absolute moron. And in this case, he was a genius. And it showed in the postseason as they beat the Astros and advanced to the ALDS, which when they unfortunately lost.
Well,
it's a really good point.
I also think that when you look at it, they were the team that was least likely in that division out of like they were the team that was least likely to bounce back so
Do I
Yeah,
tell that to
quickly, I
Tyler?
think.
yeah. Don't t no, I'm not. I can admit. I mean, yeah. Outside, like from the Guardians and Royals perspective, yeah. Like the Detroit was definitely like the team that nobody
They
thought
were
was
the
getting
shocker
in.
team.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Because
this
the
is a
Twins suck.
shocker team award, honestly.
I I mean, like I said, I think all three candidates are, you know, if any of them won, I wouldn't be surprised. It's funny because I actually went with Stephen Vogt, so we have
Hey,
three
there
different
we
ones.
go.
Look at that. Now we
And,
have a discussion.
and now
Really
I
was
will.
a coin toss.
And by the way, this is the stat I messed up for the Brewers because I was saving it for the Guardians. It's the Guardians that have the second best AL record, and that's what I meant to say. And that's with first year manager Stephen Vogt. And I think we were again also down on the Guardians a little bit more than other people, but I think even regardless, I think they definitely exceeded expectations in a big way. Their bullpen this year was absolutely insane. I will say, Will, you do bring up a good point with Hinch about like the managing that he did with the
Mhm.
bullpen and stuff. Like we'll see how much that factors in. But for me, vote in the Guardians. I mean, to do what they did in that regular season. I mean, there was times where we really thought that they might be the best team in the league. Definitely, at least the best team in the AL. Most well-rounded. So I do think he wins there. But this is gonna be a fun one, man. I like it's obviously just manager of the year, but I will be interested to see who wins this one and out of all these AL Central teams, which is still just hilarious. But um yeah, man, most entertaining division in baseball. And with that, let's move on to the NL Cy Young Award. Um Kind of already what we touched on about earlier. Paul Skeens actually makes this list, which maybe a shock to some. We'll get into that in a second. But of course you have
No, we
Chris.
won't.
We won't. Okay, wow, that was just rude. Chris Sale and
He's
Zach
not going to
Wheeler.
win.
He's not gonna win, but like, are you surprised he got on?
Yes and no.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I wanted to have a
I mean,
conversation about.
it doesn't
Conversation
surprise
over.
it doesn't surprise me because of his popularity, but it also doesn't,
His
it
numbers were
also,
extraordinary, and
yeah.
I had said multiple times that I would have really considered him a candidate for Cy Young had he been closer to 162 innings. But his numbers were still impressive enough that there is no denying that he was definitely one of the best pitchers in the National League. Heck, he was the all-star pitcher. So yes, popularity is probably a thing that slipped him slightly into it. And that's all it is, slightly into it. It's a two-man race, and it's a little more of a two-man race than it seemed at the beginning of September.
And he has your favorite pitch, actually, ever, the splinker.
Shut
That's
up. Shut up.
your favorite pitch in the
Shut up.
league. So,
Shut up. It doesn't
uh,
exist.
but no, this is a two-man race here. Chris Sale and Zach Wheeler. Um, what Chris Sale has been able to do this year coming back, which also just won the Comeback Player of the Year award. Um, and the numbers he put up, I think it's really, really hard to go against him. Will, I'll pass this off to you. Obviously, as a Phillies fan with Wheeler, I'm sure you want to see him win, but also, how does this race resemble the 2021 race with the Cy Young?
The fact that Chris Sale got injured midway through September made this almost identical. The only difference, and unfortunately the big difference, is that Chris Sale is a National League Triple Crown winner, I believe,
Yes.
leading the National League in wins, ERA, and strikeouts, where Burns was not. But both were used a little lighter on the innings pitch side for different reasons, but both put up great numbers. And then Wheeler's argument has always been that he is a workhorse that will pitch every day. He rarely gets hurt, and he gives you 200 innings while pitching mid or low twos and double digit wins. So it is going to look very, very identical. And if Wheeler wins, I will be so happy. But I think Chris Sale's going to pull it off.
Yeah. It is, again, hard to go against Chris Sale for this one, but John, I mean, anything on the side of Wheeler that maybe gets him in, I think like Will kind of already said, I mean, Chris Sale wins the Triple Crown, and it's kind of hard to go against that.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't compete against that. Wheeler's fantastic. He's an amazing pitcher, but I think this is just Chris Sale's year, honestly. This is just his year.
If
Yeah.
the writers had showed a little more, if the Wheeler had won the 2021 Cy Young, I would have probably felt a little different now. Though I could have also used an argument that because of that, the writers would have favored Sale. So he gets his Cy Young. But it's clear that to the writers nowadays, how the workhorse argument is not a factor. So I don't think that it'll change at all this year.
No.
I mean, it's kind of crazy how good Wheeler's been with the Phillies or since coming to the Phillies, and he hasn't, you know, gotten the award. I mean, it's insane.
Disrespecting your elders.
I mean, he's just been amazing. But I think Chris Sale again beats him out. And Paul Skeens, I'm happy to see him on the ballot, but that's about all. He's not winning. He's been great, but this is Chris Sale's award to win, I do believe.
One day.
One day.
One day.
Oh, one day. Next year, baby. Let's go. Paul Skeens, Cy Young 2025.
Oh, he's gonna blow out his arm.
Okay, now that's just
Wow.
stuff, man.
That's
All
really
right, you want to
crazy.
wait
I'll tell
one
you
more
what,
year, or you just want to
that
get it out of
fan-
the
Get
way?
them, Pirates fans. Get them.
that fan
fans?
that finds that card can sit next to Livy Dunn and not watch
You
Paul
are
Skeens
obsessed with
pitch.
bringing her back into this conversation, my man.
All right,
Yes.
producer, I need you to do some photoshopping. We need a John Pick and a Livy Dunn, and just
No,
That would
that's
make
gonna
him
hurt.
happy.
That would hurt me and everybody
piss
else.
off his wife.
Oh my god.
All right, AL Cy Young Award, Tariq Skubal. the best pitcher in baseball against Seth Lugo, which I can't believe I'm seeing his
No,
name.
you're doing this wrong. The question should be, John, how was Corbin Burns snubbed?
I like that. John, tell me why Corbin Burns is snubbed.
Unfortunately for him, as far as the wins go, he didn't get a lot of run support. And when
They
he
don't care about that.
did, it was a struggle sometimes, a little bit inconsistent. But hey, listen, I would happily have him back. Move on. It's Scooball's award to lose.
Is there any? I think I kind of asked you this in the regular season, Will, when we were having this conversation. Do you see anything changing with Class A that makes him win this award? Like, obviously, he's got a compelling argument, but it feels like there's just no chance.
His compelling argument is that the postseason didn't hurt his cause because it would have. That's
true.
about it. He got his reliever of the man for the American League Award like a day or two ago.
Yeah.
As we're recording this totally on a Monday, so I'm accurate when I say that.
Yes.
But there's nothing more he could have done. Scooball was just that good, and I don't think there's anything that happened at the end of the season or anything that could have propelled him over Scooball. Scooball led the Tigers to the playoffs. He got an American League Triple Crown. He deserves it.
I've never seen a team be so successful when they had one starting pitcher, essentially. Like, I mean, it's actually
when your
insane.
starting pitcher does that.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude,
that's how it works.
I mean, we talked about it in the playoffs. Like, it was like if they get to whatever game he pitches, they're gonna win essentially. And that's what makes it so scary. And again, he will win this award. I don't think there's much debate there. Which leads
Can
us.
he replicate?
I think he can. I thought.
You mean replicate as an Oriole?
Right. I don't.
No, I think that ship sailed.
I don't want to say that he's going to put up these gaudy numbers again, but I think he'll consistently be in the conversation for Cy Young because I was really high on him kind of coming into the year. I thought he was going to make a big jump. Didn't think it was going to be this big of a jump, but
I mean, hey, listen, you were right.
In some ways I was. Yes, I can't take.
He just wanted to prove you right. That's all.
Yes. Well, the Gritty Tigers love to make me happy, unlike the Pirates. And then the two awards that are the biggest awards, but are also right now just not even close. They're over. It's over. It's the MVP awards. We'll start in the NL. Will I'll bring this up just to make some conversation with this. What the hell happened to Marcell Ozuna, and why is he not here? I mean, we were so high on him.
You know, that's
We were wrong. We were wrong.
Okay.
Wait.
My defense. No, apparently now this is my chance to defend myself. It was a discussion about how he could because he was up there. He then decided to take a nap and decided to can it a little early because he had his worst month of the season by far in September. And so he was practically non-existent for the Braves that still managed to sneak into the playoffs somehow. But he needed Shohei Ohtani to basically not get the 50-50 to have a shot. And Shohei got the 50-50 and almost then some.
Yeah.
And Ozuna was like, nah, I'm good. There's next season to, win a World Series.
Look, your defense in my book is that it was an alternate view. That's all it was. Ohtani was
It was about, at the time, if you looked at stats based on how you value a player, and especially if you view the MVP as most valuable player to a team, which some people do, especially in tight races, there were a lot of arguments that could have been made for Ozuna. However, taking the last month of the season and Shohei Ohtani, who was already the favorite, just absolutely soared ahead. I don't even know why Francisco Lindor even got close into any discussions. And the only reason I'm not really arguing right now as to him being in the top three is I didn't do enough research to find someone that I liked better. All I can say is from a research standpoint that was totally dissed, and John can be happy with me on this one, is Francisco Lindor got shortstop on the second all MLB team,
Yeah.
and he absolutely should not have made it over Gunnar Henderson. It's not even close. And if you want to be that guy that, going back to what's slowly becoming our favorite stat war, I think it was, and Lindor's has like 6.8, I think it is. It's upper six. Henderson was 9.1.
Yeah.
So,
but he was not better than Bobby Witt Jr. So just remember that.
He was not in the end. That's so. I think Lindor got a huge boost for the fact that the Mets made the postseason. I don't know if he would have had the same boost if they had just missed, but I mean, in the end, he's not going to win. So,
yes,
tip your cap, go screw up next year.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani will become the first player to win the MVP award in two different leagues.
He just had a career-ending injury, so his next 9 years are going to be trash.
Back.
Yeah, I know. There's another one. I know.
I was about to say
In back-to-back years, though.
Don't you dare disrespect Frank Robinson.
I know. Frank Robinson did it. He's the only one that's done it, but he didn't do it in back-to-back years.
Yeah.
But Shohei did it in the same city.
That's true. Even better.
True. All right. To be fair.
Can Frank Robinson say that? All right, AL.
No, I don't think Cincinnati does not have an AL team.
Oh, that's
Baltimore does not have an NL team. Well, no, I don't think that he can.
Well, he's got to try better then. I don't know what he wants. AL MVP, Aaron Judge, the best performer for the Yankees in the playoffs.
John, defend Aaron Judge. Go.
Do I need to defend Aaron Judge? I think Aaron Judge defends Aaron Judge.
Yes.
I mean, I will put it this way. I do think that in terms of getting the Yankees over the hump, I think Juan Soto really helped them a lot more. And
in the playoffs.
I think just in general, in the regular season. Because think about it this way. Stanton, in all reality, has been a disappointment, in my opinion, to the Yankees for his contract. They desired to have a 1-2 punch of these two behemoths, and only one of those was able to hold up his end of the bargain for all these years, and that's Judge. Now you add Soto to that, and he sends you over the hump. And you're able to go to the World Series by just slugging your way there, which is what you wanted to do. Good job. Your fundamentals are shit, but whatever. Anyway, in terms of Aaron Judge, I mean, his stats say it himself. 322 batting average, on base percentage of 458, slugging percentage of 701, and an OPS plus of 223. I was looking for statistics and in which Aaron Judge lost to Juan Soto. I looked at WAR. Judge is 10.8. Soto is 7.9 for the year. So I was hoping that Soto beat him on that one. Before the show, I was like, oh, I'm gonna give it to Juan Soto. I want to have a discussion. I can't even argue that. It's very clearly this is Aaron Judge. These MVP races are really boring. Along with the World Series is boring because there you go again. Dodgers and Yankees. There it is.
Well, he only hit 58 home runs, so that's the knock on him.
Yes, the slacker.
Well, look at that. John defending not one, but two Yankees in the same breath.
What else am I going to say?
You had a lot of options.
Why does Colton Cowser deserve the AL MVP? Why does Jackson Holliday deserve the AL MVP? No.
Unfortunately, Jackson Holliday only played like half the season.
Oh yeah, and you know what?
And Colton Cowser has to win Rookie of the Year before he can win AL MVP.
Right.
That's how this works.
It's not going to be each.
That's like how Paul Skeens has to win NL Rookie of the Year before he can win the Cy Young. Okay.
Right. Okay. Well,
that's how this works.
Well, is there anything that hasn't been said about Aaron Judge? He's winning the award. So anything
he's winning the award.
There's nothing else to say.
I think Aaron Judge's season was better than his home run record breaking season a couple years ago.
Oof.
It's pretty bold statement, but
Probably in terms of batting average, actually.
A lot of things if you look deep into it.
yeah, I mean
Yeah, hold on. I want to look into this.
it is still crazy, and it's going to be harped on him until they get back to the playoffs. But it's crazy how bad he was in the playoffs with how good he was in the regular season,
Took
and it
until
kind of.
game 4 to figure it out. And
I mean, it really is a blot
there's usually
on
the
his
argument
season.
of
God.
there's usually the argument of better late than never. No, not this time.
Oh my God, you're right. Like his RBIs are he had 144 this year. He had 131 2 years ago when he broke the record.
I believe his
When he
slugging
broke the AL
percentage, you
record.
said,
Slugging
was over
percentage
700.
was 686 in 2022.
Oh, I was just short. I was short.
And
22. Was it over 700 this year?
701.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then his OPS was 1.111 in 2022. In 2024, it was 1.159. This is ridiculous.
He had a
Like,
better
how does
year.
that make sense?
He's a beast.
Does that just mean he hit a lot of solo home runs in 2022? Is that just what that means?
Yeah,
I think what your
probably,
statement about Soto was fairly spot on in regards of him being there made things better for Judge. And I believe the order was often Soto batting ahead of Judge. And guess what Soto does a lot?
He walks.
He walks.
Yeah. All right.
There you go, Judge.
Yeah. Touche.
Yeah. I mean, and we'll see what happens with the Yankees. That's a discussion for another time. But for this year, they definitely have two deserving candidates. But Aaron Judge will be the winner of the AL MVP.
That's all right. Next year he'll get hurt. That's what happened last time.
So now we have Paul Skeens throwing his arm out, and
what are we doing?
the best power hitter in baseball. What, guys? We can't be saying this. We're gonna get canceled.
We can think things we don't. If we want them to happen, that's a little different.
Yeah,
But
well,
we're just
I can tell you
saying.
one thing. I don't want Paul Skeens.
Listen, I'm just looking at trends, okay? 2022, he has a monster year, breaks a home run record. Next season, he gets hurt. 2024, he has a monster year, wins the MVP. We'll see in 2025.
Yeah, we'll see. That is all
Also
for us
a
here.
large human.
You can say that again. That's an understatement. That is all for us here at Big League Breakdowns. You can follow us on Twitter at BL_breakdowns, Big League Breakdowns, everywhere else. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the content, like the video, all that good stuff. And we will see you next time for episode 27.
Livy Dunn, make sure to wear your seatbelt.